What is going on, everybody? And today I thought I would rank every major coaster at Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. Now, I rode every major coaster at Kings Island except for Invertigo because it was closed, and I didn't ride any of the kiddie coasters. So everything else, and every other coaster I did ride though. So I'm going to be ranking all of them today. So starting off at my number 9 spot, we have Flight of Fear, which is their indoor premiere launch spaghetti bowl coaster. So honestly, we were not the biggest fans of this ride. Now, not because we thought it was bad. In my opinion, I don't think it's a bad ride. It's just it's rough and it's janky. Now, I know there's a Flight of Fear at Kings Dominion. Now, we did go to Kings Dominion this year, but we did not ride that Flight of Fear, so I cannot compare it to that one. But they are the same ride. It's just I don't know which one's going to be smoother. So that one could be smoother than the one at Kings Island, but I would not know because I did not ride it. But the one at Kings Island is not that smooth in my opinion. Now, the ride itself is very intense. I mean, it's in the dark, so that's fun. And it's not pitch black. Like, it is pitch black inside, but there is lights so you can kind of see. There's, like, lights throughout the ride. It's not like there's, like, lights that are on the ceiling so like you can see like throughout the entire ride. There's lights that are kind of placed along kind of where you would be so that you can kind of see throughout the ride, but it's still pretty dark. But the launch itself is very punchy, which is nice. Launching into the dark is pretty cool, definitely, I can say that. But the ride itself is very janky and it's pretty rough, so it's kind of hard to enjoy it that way. But that's just my opinion. You guys may like the ride, you guys may love the ride, but in my opinion, the ride itself is not that good. The theming is really good. The theming is probably the best theming in the entire park as for rides. Like I said, the theming is very, very good. So like, not bashing it on the theming, just not the biggest fan of the ride, but the theming is very good. But the ride itself, not my favorite, but it's not the worst. At my number 8 spot, we have the Bat, which is an Arrow suspended coaster. This was our first ever suspended coaster, so it being our first one was great. It was such a great ride, very smooth, and I love the transitions. They weren't janky, and it was just a fun ride all around. Loved going through the woods, and as you're going up the lift hill, if you look to your left, you can actually see the Great Wolf Lodge, which is like right next to the Bat, so it's right next to Kings Island. So that's super, super cool. Really, really think that is a cool thing that you can literally just look to your left and see the Great Wolf Lodge, which is just like, it was such a cool thing to see. And then going through the trees is really, really fun. Now, there might be bugs. So just beware of that. But because, of course, you're going through the trees, there's going to be some bugs. But I guess that also kind of depends on the time of season you go. We went in August, but that itself is a great ride. Don't miss out on it at Kings Island. Even though it's not the most popular coaster at Kings Island, it is still a great ride that you should not miss. It is such a fun ride, just a fun ride. And it's not rough. It's not a rough Arrow. It's a smooth Arrow, which is really, really good. Always nice to find those smooth Arrow coasters. But that is a great ride. At my number 7 spot, we have Racer, the blue side. So we rode both sides of the Racer, blue and red. They are both super, super good, but kind of just had to place one of them somewhere. So blue just falls behind red. Racer is a super, super great ride. It's very smooth. It's super smooth. And Kings Island, you can kind of tell they take very good care of their wooden coasters. Another one of their wooden coasters will be coming up a little bit later in this video, but not quite yet. But Racer, the blue side, is very, very good. It has pretty good airtime. Love the racing aspect of it because obviously that does make it very fun, like try to beat the other side. But Racer itself is a very, very great ride. Like I said, very smooth, has pretty good airtime, but very great ride for blue side of the Racer. At my number 6 spot, we have red side of the Racer. Same thing, very smooth, very good airtime. The only reason I picked red to be a little bit better than blue was because I thought it to be a little smoother and have a little bit more airtime. Now, they're both good. They both have good airtime and both of them are smooth, but there was a pothole on blue that was not on red, and that's kind of a reason why I put it above blue. But still, both of them are great rides. Of course, love the racing aspect of it, and both red side and blue side of Racer are great rides. Here we go. We have the top 5 coasters at Kings Island. This is where we start to get into the major coasters, the really, really great ones here. Now, at my number 5 spot, we have Banshee, which is their B&M Inverted Coaster. It is a super great ride. Now, this is one of the few B&M Inverted Coasters that have the vest restraints, and they are good, and they're not the worst, but they're not the best vest restraints that I have experienced. Now, I've only experienced 3 coasters that have vest restraints, those being Banshee at Kings Island, Iron Menace at Dorney Park, and Wrath of Rakshasa at Six Flags Great America. And out of those, I think I would probably have to go with maybe Wrath of Rakshasa as being the best. This was like all the way in August, so I'm like trying to think back. But Banshees was not like super uncomfortable. I was just kind of trying to compare it to the other vest restraint coasters that I've ridden. But outside of the restraints, Banshee is a great ride. Now, I know a lot of people have complained about it being kind of rough, having a rattle. Honestly, I didn't find it to have that bad of a rattle. Sure, did it have a little bit of one, but honestly, every coaster does. You're not really going to find a coaster that's like butter smooth that actually has like no rattle. But this one, I didn't find it to be that bad. And it's a great ride in general. I mean, it's pretty intense. I love the 2 bat wings. Those are super intense, especially the second one, or going into the second one is like really intense. You got a lot of G-forces there. And then I know the inline twist is fun. It's very slow, so that's pretty fun. It's good hang time there. And it is just a great ride in general. Don't miss out on Banshee. It's definitely one of my favorite inverted coasters that I've ridden. Definitely up there in terms of inverted coasters. So it is a super, super great ride that you should not miss out when you go to Kings Island. At my number 4 spot, we have the other wooden coaster, which is the Beast, the longest wooden roller coaster in the entire world. Beast is a great, great ride. And a little backstory. So when we first were getting to go on Beast, we actually had to wait 30 minutes until the park, or after the park closed, which would be 10:30 at that point, 10:30 at night. And because they were doing fireworks, and they have to wait until the fireworks were finished in order to run Beast. So we had to wait until 30 minutes after closing in order to get on. And after the fireworks were over, they still had to go out and inspect the ride area around Beast to make sure everything was good and nothing happened with the fireworks could have caused that would make Beast have like any malfunctions or anything like that. So we had to wait a bit to get on, but it was worth it. And I'm really glad that was our last ride of the night, because it is a must-do when you go to Kings Island. It's pretty much this is like a known thing. You have to ride it at night. No matter what, you have to ride it at night. Now, our original plan was to ride it during the day and at night, but we got to the park a little bit later than we wanted to. So that's why we only got to ride it during the night, and we didn't get to ride it earlier in the day, because we were trying to just get through all the coasters as quickly as we could so we could fit everything in, because there was this storm that happened that closed the rides for like an hour. So that definitely took up a lot of time. So, and if that storm didn't happen, we probably could have ridden Beast and the other 3 coasters that were at that side of the park, which were Diamondback, Mystic Timbers, and obviously Beast, more than we wanted to, or more times than we did. And we probably could have ridden Beast in the day. But that storm did happen, but luckily we still did get to get on those other 3 rides. But Beast at night is super, super great. I mean, it is just, it's literally pitch black. You don't know where you're going, and you're just literally riding through the woods. It's really crazy. You have to ride it at night. Definitely do not miss out on that. It's a great ride. It's smooth. It's not rough. And there's this helix, which is like really intense. It's really great. And it is just a great ride in general. Like, do not miss out on Beast. It's a very iconic coaster. Don't miss out on it. It is a great, great ride. At my number 3 spot, we have another wooden coaster, Mystic Timbers. And this is their GCI Woody. This is a great, great ride. Now, it's a very quick ride. It's not long, and it's a GCI Woody. It runs through the layout really, really fast. It is a really fast-paced ride. Now, it has great airtime. It has great laterals, very great laterals. And it's smooth. It's not rough. And it's great. And then, obviously, there's the shed at the end. And I'm not gonna spoil it because I know it's a lot of people don't want people to spoil it. I'm pretty sure there's POVs out there that you can watch that do spoil it because it includes the shed. But there you have the shed at the end, which is iconic, so that's nice. And then the ride itself is great. We rode it during dusk because of the storm. It pushed us back a lot of times, so we didn't get to ride it during the day. We rode it in the back row, and it was just great. Great ride. It was so good. Love the drop. Going down that drop in the back row is really great. You just get thrown to the side. Great laterals there. It is just great. The pacing is really good. You're not gonna be able to have to complain about pacing for Mystic Timbers because it is just great. There's not a dead spot for Mystic Timbers. There's not a spot where the ride is slow or it's running slow or anything like that. It is just fast paced all the way through, which I really like. And Mystic Timbers itself is a great ride that you really do not want to miss out on when you go to Kings Island. All right, top 2 coasters at Kings Island for me. At my number 2 spot, we have their Giga Coaster Orion. This is a great ride. This was our first B&M Giga Coaster. Our first Giga Coaster was Millennium Force to Cedar Point, but that's an Intamin. So this is our first B&M one. And this one is super good. Now it's pretty new. It was built in 2020, so it's only 5, closer to 6, but it is a great ride, and it's very smooth. It's, again, all the coasters at Kings Island were super smooth. That was kind of a thing that we noticed. That was a pattern that all the coasters there were smooth except for Flight of Fear, but everything else was smooth. So that just tells you that Kings Island does take very good care of their coasters. And this was a great ride. Rode it in the back row. Going down that 300-foot drop was absolutely crazy. And yes, before you guys say anything about it not being a Giga Coaster, it is. Even though it only stands 287 feet tall, the drop is 300 feet. And that's what makes something a Giga or a Hyper or something like that. The drop makes it that title. Now, if the drop was only 287 feet, then it wouldn't be a Giga Coaster. But the drop is 300 feet, so that makes it a Giga Coaster. But anyway, that Orion is a super great ride. It's very smooth, like I said, pretty good airtime, especially at the end of the ride. That last bunny at the end of the ride, that has some really strong airtime that I was definitely not expecting. I was not expecting it to be that strong. I was kind of expecting it just to be some floater, because the floater was pretty much the entire ride for all of the airtime hills, so I was not expecting it to be kind of ejected airtime there. So that was great. And then the ride ends, and it's just such a great ride. And it's such a great ride, but it did not beat the number 1 coaster that I have. And you guys can probably guess what it is if you guys know the lineup of coasters Kings Island has. But Orion is a great ride. That is a must-do when you go to Kings Island. All right, so my number 1 coaster at Kings Island is Diamondback. Diamondback is such a great hyper coaster. Really like Diamondback. Definitely liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was just going to be it's a pretty good hyper coaster, but I thought it was going to be way too overrated because everybody hyped up on it. Everybody was like, this is the best hyper coaster, this is that. So I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, but I really did. It was such a great ride. And we rode it in the back row. And Diamondbacks is one of those coasters that have a longer, one of the hyper coasters that have a longer train than, say, something like Nitro or Kindemonium. And it's way longer than those. So when you're going down the drop, if you're in the back row, you just get thrown down that drop. Some great airtime there. And then it has staggered seating. So this is our first coaster that had staggered seating. And basically, if you guys don't know what that means, so basically it's just a seating arrangement kind of thing. So say the front row, it has 2 seats, but they're close together. The second row still has 2 seats, but they're staggered away from each other. They're farther apart from each other. There's a divider in the middle. So it's still, you're going to sit with whoever you're next to. It's just going to be a little bit farther away from them than you would be, say, in the front row or the third row, or just every other row. So that's what staggered seating is. There's another coaster that's like that, and that is Thunder Striker at Carowinds, which used to be Intimidator. But that coaster also has staggered seating. But Diamondback also does at Kings Island, and that was our first coaster that did have staggered seating. So we rode in the back, which is one of the seats that have the staggered seating. But anyway, once we got up to the top of the lift hill, we just got thrown over that drop because since it's a long train, it is just, you get a lot of airtime there, which is great. Now, Diamondback does have very strong airtime, stronger airtime than Orion, so that's why it is above Orion, just a little bit. But anyway, the rest of the route is super, super good, and of course at the end you have that big splashdown, which is just like awesome. Really, really great moment there. Really, really love that. And I know you can get like wet from it. I know you can actually get like soaked, especially if you're in the back and you kind of like reach out. Now I did reach out to try to feel the water, but I didn't get any water. And if I did, it was like a little drop. It was like only on my arm. So I guess just like hit or miss if you get soaked or not. But it was kind of starting to get a little chilly, so I'm kind of glad I didn't get soaked. But I kind of wanted a little bit more water than I got, but it's fine. But anyway, the ride itself, great. And we didn't have to wait long for it at all because after the storm ended, everybody left the park. Pretty much there was like nobody there. There was like no wait for anything. So, except for Beast, but that wasn't because of a long line. It was just because we had to wait until the fireworks were over. But no wait at all. We could just walk right on the ride. It was really, really great. And we could have ridden it again if we wanted to, but we were trying to get on Mystic Timbers and Beast before the park closed just so we could fit those in because the storm really did set us back time-wise. But Diamondback was such a great, great ride. You definitely need to ride it when you go to Kings Island. It is my number one coaster at Kings Island. I know a lot of people really, really love it. Probably my favorite hyper coaster. Now, I haven't ridden too many hyper coasters. I mean, I've ridden Raging Bull at Six Flags Great America, Nitro Great Adventure, Candemonium at Hershey, and now we have Diamondback at Kings Island. And maybe I'm missing one. I doubt it, but probably my favorite out of those coasters. But Diamondback is such a great ride. Do not miss out on it when you go to Kings Island. It is a great, great ride. That is a must-do when you go. But that is pretty much going to do it for this video. That is my number one coaster at Kings Island. Let me know down in the comments if you guys agree or disagree with that. And like I said, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry I haven't been posting too much lately. I just don't really have a lot of ideas. So if you guys have any, just drop it in the comments below and I will try my best to do them. But that's going to do it for this video. Happy holidays. Christmas is right around the corner and Hanukkah it's going through its cycle right now. So happy holidays to everyone that celebrates. But that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, guys.